Pray with me. Our Father, who art in Outland, Paladin be thy name. Thy repit comes, Prebis is done, when Caverns of Time is revered. Amen. Welcome back, everybody, to the second video in the Pali Bible series, our Reputation Guide Episode 2. We're going to be going over Caverns of Time and why it's applicable to Paladins, Protection Paladins in particular. I'm really excited about going over the items received in this video. No more dungeon spam and steam vaults for your Prebis cloak or your chest. No 15 runs in the Botanica for Spawners of the Righteous. No 70 runs for Figurine of the Colossus and Shattered Halls. You get the Reputation, you get the Prebis items, and you go on your way. So I'm excited to go over the perks of getting Revered and even Exalted as a Paladin with Caverns of Time. I'm going to be looking at Caverns of Time from a Prebis gearing perspective. It's a fresh server. You've got 5 different dungeon reputations that you can grind out to Revered to unlock the heroic versions, so then you can start getting your heroic lockouts to go for some of your pre-raid bis items. Also, buying the items at Honored, Revered, and Exalted from the vendors, you're going to want to choose a dungeon to grind out the reputation along the way, you know, if you're not leveling up in instances and gaining some of the reputation on the way to level 70. So we've hit 70. For Prot Paladins, Caverns of Time is the most bang for your buck. It's probably the first reputation that you want to grind out to Revered, and I want to go over why. So as we're getting the reputation, there's 2 different dungeons that you can run for Caverns of Time. We have Old Hillsbrad Foothills and Black Morass. You have to run Old Hillsbrad Foothills first to unlock BM. Plenty of people are going to be running this reputation, trying to get their reputation to Revered with Caverns of Time because of the Continuum Blade, so you've got tons of spellcasters. You shouldn't have a problem finding groups to spam these dungeons. Also, Black Morass you need for the Karazhan attunement. And so I'm going to come here first. As we're getting our reputation, you're going to run Old Hillsbrad Foothills, and the only item of interest for Prot Palis is off the first boss, the Iron Bandit, the Unbreakable. It's got armor, which is kind of cool, stamina of course, and 17 defense rating. That's going to get you close to your defense cap, and it's the best stat for getting to Uncrushable with Avoidance. If this doesn't drop the first time, I wouldn't be worried about it. I wouldn't come back here. There's better alternatives. 25 badges, you get Yield of the Unyielding Force. Also, the last boss in Arcatraz, I would rather go for that for a damage mitigation ring. Once you finish Old Hillsbrad Foothills, you're going to complete a quest for Endormu's Tier. This is your second damage mitigation ring. So on your first run, you could get, you know, 2 pretty good pieces for damage mitigation. If you want spell damage rings, you're going to have to look elsewhere. After Old Hillsbrad Foothills, you're going to be spamming Black Morass for your reputation. And in BM, the 2 items for Prot Paladins of interest are the cloak that drop off the first boss. It's okay if it drops, great, but it's not your best in slot cloak until tier 6 that drops off the last boss in Steam Vault. So if this drops along the, you know, the gearing process, good deal, but I'm definitely going to be spamming Steam Vaults for that Biz cloak until tier 6. This one's not that interesting to me. Also, the last boss, you get Leg Plates of the Righteous. It's kind of cool. It's a part of the Paladin set, but it's got spell damage on it. Maybe you can find, you know, a unique case for this if you're gold farming and you want more spell damage, but you are going to replace these legs with the Revered version from Caverns of Time that I want to hit as well. Now, as soon as you hit Revered, those are the items that you're going to get while you're grinding reputation from normals. As soon as you hit Revered, you want to run Black Morass Heroic. And this is one of your few heroic pre-bis raid items as a Prot Paladin. This is one of the few dungeons that you're going to run. Girdle of the Valorous Deeds. Now you can compare this to the Arcatraz Key quest chain reward. That's your other belt. That's the pre-raid bis before you get this. These are the dungeon drops that you get along the reputation. Now let's go look at the vendor and see what the automatic items are that you get. Now that we're looking at the quartermaster for Caverns of Time, there's some really exciting pieces in here for Prot Pali. I think I'm more excited about the jewel crafting and enchanting recipes that you pick up from the reputation. But first, let's go over the gear that you're going to be able to buy as soon as you hit Revered. This is huge. First thing I'm looking at is Continuum Blade. The spell damage that you receive off your weapon as a Prot Paladin is like the most spell damage you're going to receive from any possible slots. So the weapons are a big deal. I'm thinking about the item that you're going to have before this is the Slave Pins weapon, possibly. I think it's got like 91 spell damage off the first boss in Slave Pins. You'll probably upgrade that with Continuum Blade at Revered. And then at Thrallmar and Exalted, there's a separate video for the Reputation for Thrallmar. You can look at the upgrades there. You're going to get like 161 spell damage. So this is a great piece in between. Maybe you're going to get 1 or 2 Karazhan lockouts before you get that Exalted Thrallmar Reputation. Huge weapon right here. This Continuum Blade is the reason as a Prot Paladin why you're able to hold threat in your regular dungeon runs and some of your heroics, you know, on a fresh server. The second item that we're looking at, Time Warden's Leggings. Now again, let's compare this to Leg Plates of the Righteous that drop off the last boss in BM. These are great, they have spell damage, but you need damage mitigation. You need to hit 490 defense so you can't be crit by bosses in Karazhan, and you want to get closer to, you know, 102.4% avoidance so you can't be crushed. And Leg Plates of the Righteous, this is an easy upgrade. Time Warden's Legging, they have 18 defense, 11 dodge, rating is really good for your avoidance. That has 3 gem sockets. I think that's why people are most excited about this. You can stack tons of stamina in here. Maybe you have 2 sets for like plus spell damage if you're trying to squeeze out a cheeky parse in Karazhan, because you can get away with, you know, having less stamina. But we'll see. Karazhan isn't that difficult. But yeah, definitely Time Warden's Leggings, a huge pickup at Revered. This is your pre-raid base. I also think before you get the tier gear, obviously this is the best item that you can pick up. And then Glyph of the Defender. This is going to be your best headpiece that you can put in, I think, in phase 1. Before you get tier 4 gear, before you get a lot of defense rating and you can swap things around, you're definitely going to want this head enchant. I think in tier 5 and tier 6, in the later rating progression, you're going to want like a spell power head enchant, but this is massive. So you get like 2.5 items from getting Revered with Black Morass right off the bat. This is, again, like we said, the most bang for the buck for Prot Paladins coming here. Now let's take a look at the benefits of getting the Reputation with Caverns of Time in relation to your profession recipes. I'm super excited about this. In TBC, professions are still super relevant. This is what separates me from other Prot Paladins, are my professions. And so with Caverns of Time, you could be mining, blacksmithing, mining, engineering. You could go engineering, jewel crafting, engineering, enchanting. Personally, I want to go engineering and jewel crafting. I'm really hoping that this works out. I know that Blizzard made a blue post and a change recently. Enchanting, for instance, if you put the plus spell damage enchant on your rings and then you drop enchanting, that enchant will be nullified. It won't work anymore. But I'm hoping, and I think that it's going to work this way. With jewel crafting, you get this at Exalted. No, this is Revered, Keepers of Time. You get this trinket with... It's a 5-minute cooldown on use, 150 spell damage, and it's got int and stamina stats. And the reason I think this is going to work if you were to drop jewel crafting and then pick up enchanting is you'll be able to equip it and you should still get the effects. Now, we can look at this 12 defense gem. This with the change shouldn't work. For like these enchants or the gems that you slot, I think if you were to drop jewel crafting, then these gems don't work if you don't have jewel crafting anymore. But I think that the items that you put on, similar to how it worked in Classic, I was a Bear Druid, and I went enchanting, I made the armor trinket, and then I dropped enchanting, and I was still able to use the item. So I'm really hoping that it works out that way. But yeah, check out this trinket with 150 spell damage. It's comparable to the Shatar Reputation at Revered and the Scryers at Revered, which both have 150 spell damage on use, and they have a 1.5 minute cooldown. So you're getting that 150 spell damage a lot faster than this one, and you get spell hit and spell crit. But for Prot Paladins, you're only benefiting from, you know, like your judgments on the spell hit and crit, the spell hit for taunt, and also your healing. So I don't really care about spell hit and crit that much as a Prot Paladin. I would rather have the raw intellect and stamina stats. It does have a longer cooldown with the spell damage use than the other 2 items, but if I'm just looking at parses or I'm doing heroic dungeons, I'll be able to hold threat just the same, you know, with this 5-minute cooldown trinket. Really excited about this. I'm hoping that I can craft this, drop jewel crafting, and then go pick up enchanting. But yeah, this 12 defense gem you get from Honored, which is kind of neat, and there's a couple gems that you can craft which might be relevant for Paladins. I'm not in the know on that, not really sure. Now, assuming I'm able to equip the Living Ruby Serpent, drop jewel crafting, and still be able to use this item, I'm going to go enchanting. So I'm going to have engineering enchanting on my Paladin. So for my gold farms, I'll be able to disenchant the greens sell the essences on the auction house. I'm thinking about that Strat Live Gold Farm. We have a video on that in the Pally Bible series if you want to check it out in the description. But if you're an enchanter, now at Honored and, yeah, Honored for both of these, you get your 12 spell damage, which you're going to use, I think, throughout the entire expansion. You're always going to put 12 spell damage on your rings. Huge for threat generation. And then you get major spell power, 20 spell power on your gloves. I think that there's a defense rating enchant, but definitely, as easy as the content was, I'm going to be going for higher parses, and Karazhan at least I'll definitely be putting spell damage on my gloves. You could get other people to enchant the gloves, but the ring enchants, you're going to have the profession in order to have this on your rings. The last benefit you're going to get from Reputation with Caverns of Time, if you are an enchanter, is going to be the superior agility, plus 15 agi to gloves. Now, this is a throwback for me. I remember playing classic TBC Wrath when I was a kid, and I had a 19 twink, and this was the best in slot enchant for gloves. You might be able to make a little bit of gold if you get exalted with this Reputation right away by selling this enchant. Maybe you can do some cool stuff for the first couple weeks if you do have like a 19 or 29 twink and you put these 15 agi enchant on their gloves. That's the last item. But yeah, thanks for watching this Reputation guide. I'm hoping that this series is going to be relevant to you guys and helpful for just figuring out which Reputation you should get to Revered and Exalted to get the biggest bang for your buck, you know, the most benefit from these reputations. I'm going to do one over each of the dungeon reputations, so you'll be able to see, you know, the heroic previous items that we're going after, the dungeon drops, as well as, you know, all the items you can buy off the quartermaster. So thanks for watching, guys. Stick around. If this was helpful, please remember to like the video for me. It really helps out. And check out the rest of the videos in this series for the Pally Bible. We have gold farms, reputation guide videos, and all the likes. So you can find that in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.